Welcome back to Personal Productivity Using Technology with Dr. X. And we are this is the second part of the lookup functions of Excel. We are looking at the mechanical eyes of Excel. And just to show you, just in case you were a little confused when I was doing those borders, whenever I have to make borders, we made a nice invoice with borders, and whenever I have to make borders, I could always use the more borders, which is a classic additional option. And what I can do is I can use different weight, different thickness of the borders, and select the different thickness of these borders and apply it. As you can see, I reselected the top border so that I make it thinner than it was before, and apply and click OK. So we were making nice borders and nice Excel different types of borders. Let's say I only want to have bottom border here, so I am going to make no borders, and then maybe keep this little part to be more borders. So the borders are, you just gotta play around with these. It's not, they're not a big deal, but still you gotta be careful of what you're doing. So here I only want bottom and top and left and right. That's all I want. And you can see that I got it done. So really cool stuff with borders and creating an Excel spreadsheet that looks like a document. So if you go to File, Print, this looks like a document where you created a table, but then it has this amazing brain in cell B11. And the brain is what I have called several times mechanical eyes. And what these mechanical eyes do is they look at a product database, which is here, and it's the range from A1 up till A7. They look for the value, the lookup value that resides in A11. So they look for this value in here, and they correspond this value to the second column that has the description. So number 2 is this third argument, and of course by now you're experts at distinguishing arguments, because arguments have got commas between them, and you definitely have seen this before once or twice. And then the fourth argument tells these mechanical eyes that, look, you're looking for specific values. You're looking for item codes. You are not looking for a range. So this is not a range lookup. Your mechanical eyes are not looking for a range of values between W and D and so on and so forth. They're looking for specific codes. So that's what we were doing, and we were left discussing, what if I wanted to autofill this nice column B and make it look up for the value A12 in my product database and correspond this to the description of the product that resides in column number 2, and then look for not range, false range, but look for a specific product item code. Well, we started discussing and I gave away the answer, but what happens with the autofill is, yes indeed, I get the corresponding values that I need to look for them in my product database, correct? But look at what happens to my product database. Even though I wanted my product database to remain the same, my product database shifts from A1 to D7 to A2 to D8, A3 to D9, up to A20 to D26. And if I go back to the product database worksheet, oh my gosh, I am here. There's nothing here. No products, no item codes, nothing to look at. So this range, 20 to 26, is certainly not correct. And the rest of the ranges do not reflect accurately my product database. So how do I resolve this issue? Well, you know very well that I can glue this range by using dollars, by using the dollar symbols to make the range an absolute range. So if I use a dollar symbol in front of A, it means that the column A is not going to change if I use the autofill feature. If I use a dollar symbol in front of 1, means that the row number 1 is not going to change as I use the autofill feature, and so on for D7. So now, if I use the autofill black cross, you can see that my range is glued very well, and now I get exactly what I want. And now going back to the product database, if I pick another value, whoops, wrong cell. I need to paste that here, and then pick a third value. I'm just picking random values and put it here. Then let's say I try to switch. I get my very nice descriptions. The rest of the descriptions are non-applicable. And why are they non-applicable? Because there's nothing in the item code. So at this point, I have the perfect mechanical eyes. Can you imagine how tedious it is to go and find each item code and corresponding description and the unit price, which I haven't done yet, but I'm gonna do this very soon. So it's very tedious to go back and forth in a product database, and it's in a different worksheet, so yada yada yada, blah blah blah. It's very tedious. So I'm not going to do this. I'm gonna have these mechanical eyes, this very good VLOOKUP function, and I'm gonna use this to perform my my lookup and correspond the item code to the description of the product based on the product database. Now is the time to find the unit price. And at this point, I will ask you to pause this video and try to create another set of mechanical eyes to look up for the item code in your product database and correspond the item code to the price. And the price does not reside anymore in column 2, which is B, but it resides in column 3. So I've almost given you the answer. I want you to pause this video and think how this formula will change, how the mechanical eyes will change to look for an item code and no longer correspond it to a description, but correspond it to the respective price of the product with a specific item code. So, welcome back. I hope you paused the video at the point that I had asked you to. And now let's look at the solution of the second set of mechanical eyes. So I am going to use a formula again, insert function. And as you can see in my recent functions, I've got VLOOKUP, and this is exactly the same set of mechanical eyes I'm going to use because I am still looking for the value A11, and I'm looking for this value inside the product database that resides in the product database worksheet, and that's the name of the worksheet. And the syntax says that I have to split the worksheet name with an exclamation mark and then put the range of the worksheet that I'm using. And of course, at this point, I have to use the absolute references because nothing changed. My database has to be glued. It has to be the same every time I do my lookup. So finally, the only thing that changes is the output, the calculation of these mechanical eyes. I no longer need the description of the product that resides in column number 2. I need the price of the product that resides in column number 3. And as you can see, by clicking the worksheet, I get the name of the worksheet in my column index number, and that is not a number. A number would be either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, the numbers of the columns of my database. So in this case, the number is number 3. Finally, still same deal. I'm not doing a range lookup. I'm not looking within a range of numbers. I'm looking within a specific item code. I'm looking for a specific item code. So in this case, my unit price is going to be the Plasma TV unit price, 1,899. So now at this point, I want these numbers to be not simple numbers, but accounting. I also want my line total and subtotal to be accounting numbers. So I'm just going to choose accounting, and the quantity, of course, is going to be simple numbers. So now my total is going to be a simple calculation. It's going to be the quantity, C11, multiplied by the price. So if I bought 2 TVs, the total is going to be 2 multiplied by the number of TVs. So as you may have noticed, only if I save, my functions get calculated. I can always go to calculate now or calculate the whole worksheet to get all my functions calculated. Now let's think, if I use the autofill, will it work? Yes, it will. And calculate. As you can see, the prices change, and of course again I need to calculate, and the prices will change again. And here is another autofill that I got to perform. Calculate and changing. You can see that everything works like a charm. I have 2 quantities, and I have the product price in the column, and I multiply these, and I get my proper value. So now at this point, I just want to confirm that my product database doesn't change, and indeed it's always A1 to D7, A1 to D7, and life is good. So now simple calculations. Of course, the subtotal is going to be the sum, so you can practice your sum. Here we are. And of course there may be a problem with this one because we have some non-applicable values, but the overall picture is correct, so we can sum up only up to the values that have something, or we can just delete the rows that do not have a value, delete, and then recalculate, and you can see that everything works like a charm. So I'm going to leave this as it is for now, and now I'm going to switch again to formulas to show you something different. Okay, here I've got a complicated formula, right? I've got a complicated lookup, VLOOKUP, that has 1, 2, 3, 4 arguments. Okay, and it gets even messier because I have this humongous name right in the middle, this humongous range, because I gotta have this name because frankly this is a database that comes from a different spreadsheet, so I have to specify the name of the worksheet. I'm sorry, not spreadsheet. These different tabs are worksheets. The different tabs are worksheets, as we have said before. And so I have to use the name of the worksheet, the name of the tab to define where my database is. I also have to use the range, and I also have to make the range absolute for the needs of my mechanical eyes. We shouldn't shift the database. The mechanical eyes should look at the same database all the time. So all of this is good, but there should be a better way of writing this range, of using this range. And that's where cell and range names come to play. I can name this whole range that resides in the tab product database. I can select it and use the name manager and define a name for this range and name this range products. And after I name this range to products, as you can see, pay a lot of attention to this, it refers to the absolute range A1 up to D7. So after I name these products, well, the name already exists, so I'll name it all products. After I use this name, I can see the name in the name box. So that's one good thing. So whenever I select the range, I can see this nice name in the name box. And then I can also go and change this long-winded argument to all products. Pay attention to the names. They are case sensitive. They are also, you can also never use spaces in a name. So as you can see, I used 2 words, but I just used the camel case, and I just said all products without a space. So now I'm auto-filling with these nice old products, and look at the magic here. If I calculate my worksheet very nicely, my results are the same. They're good, and I also have a very nicely condensed argument, second argument. And as you can understand, I can absolutely do the same in my second set of mechanical eyes. So I can substitute this long-winded name with all products and then use the autofill and then recalculate. And this naming works like a charm. So the naming works perfectly like a charm, and I can even name cells. So the to cell can now be named, well, the customer ID cell could be named customer ID. So now the cell D5 is no longer called D5, as you can see in the name box, it's called customer ID. Same with D4, I can name that invoice number. And you can name anything you want today. And you can name cells, you can name ranges, anything you choose. Now here's the beauty of this. You can look at the name manager, so that's the middle part of the formulas tab, and look at all the names that you've got. And let's say I want to delete this name, so you can delete, or you can even edit and modify. You can modify the range of your names and so on and so forth. So the name manager is the middle part of the formulas tab, and with this we have seen everything in the formulas tab. We've looked at some functions, and we'll look at more in future videos. We've looked at the names and the formula auditing and absolutely calculations. So this is super cool. Why? Because it can save us from a lot of grief. Okay, so now anything you want for your lookup, and whenever you want to use this nice database, the product database, you don't have to go to this worksheet and select it. You can just type all products, because based on the name manager, all products, you can see down here that the all products name refers to the product database, worksheet or tab, and the range, absolute range. Be careful with that, it's an absolute range of A1 up to D7. This is perfect and very, very useful for your lookup tables and many other complicated functions that we're going to use. So use the names lavishly to anything you want. Use them, strongly encourage to use them in your exam. I'm definitely going to try to confuse you with weird ranges and all that you have to select and be able to go through different tabs and all these different worksheets. So use this lavishly. Big tip for your exam. Use it in your exams even if I don't ask you to do that. Take initiative to make your life easier, especially when you're testing in this class. And with this tip, we will wrap up this little video and we will be back with more cool functions. See you next time.